And howdy, folks. Welcome back to this edition of Dave Diggs History. We are going to be doing part 2 today of Explore Park's Holiday Traditions event. Now, if this is your first time here visiting this channel, it's not going to make any sense, this episode. It's not going to make any sense at all unless you go back to the previous episode and see part 1 of Explore Park and the Holiday Traditions event. This is episode 23. You need to go back and see episode 22. Go right ahead. We'll still be here. Be happy to see you again. And we left off in the last episode talking about treats in other countries that their children leave for Santa Claus. We mentioned Great Britain, England really, and they leave mince pie and sherry. Very, very English way to do things. There was also Ireland, where they left behind mince pie again, and Guinness. I also mentioned what we do here in America, which is milk and cookies. And you may remember there were snickerdoodles, and some of them were all busted up. Don't worry about it. I took care of it. Not a problem anymore. We'll continue with what children in other countries left behind for Santa Claus, or their version of Santa Claus. In Sweden, they leave coffee. In Argentina, they leave hay for the animals and also water. I'm glad somebody's looking out for the animals. In Australia, they leave cookies and, can you guess? Beer. Cookies and beer. Great combination. In Denmark, it's rice pudding. In Chile, it's pan de Pascua, fruit cake. The German Kinder, they leave behind letters addressed to Santa. And in Japan, their children leave Kurisumasu Niwa Kentakai. Translated is Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's the way they do things. It's how they do things. It is the way of their people. It's fine. Now, Santa Claus goes by many names, including in this country, we only have Santa Claus, Kris Kringle, St. Nicholas. But in other countries, they go by other names. It's their culture, their people. It's how they do things. We have, of course, we've mentioned this one before, Sinterklaas in the Netherlands. Hungary has Mikloos. Mikloos gives sweets to good children and a birch rod to the bad. Slovenia has Dedek Mraz, translated as Grandfather Frost. China has Dunche Laupik. Iran, they have their own version too. Iran has Dunche, that's China. Iran has Amu Norwuz. I'm probably not pronouncing it right. Germany has Weihnachtsmann. Greece has Aglios Vasilios. The Basques over in Spain, they have Olent Zeros. And there are other Santas or versions of Santa, or what might be considered Santa, throughout the rest of the world. In Japan, images of Hotai Osho are spread throughout the home to let the children know they're being watched. Got to keep those kids down, you know. Even in our own country, Santa or something like him, perhaps, can be called by different names. For instance, the Pennsylvania Dutch have you may have seen this before, Belschnickel, who may or may not look like this. Some images have him having horns. Some images have him having a very long tongue reaching down to his belt. He gives gifts to children, sweets, treats, and to the bad he gets, well, in this case, in this image, it's a switch or perhaps a whip. And in other images, it's a birch rod. Another birch rod. What is it with birch? What's wrong with good old pine right here? Be that as it may, it's the Belschnickel. In Hawaii, In Hawaii, it's of course different, even though it's America, United States, it's different. And it's Kanakaloka. He wears shorts, a Hawaiian shirt, and he arrives in an outrigger canoe. Very Hawaiian, very Hawaiian. Now, when I was working with the people, the visitors at Explore Park during the event, Holiday Traditions, I would offer a piece of trivia concerning Santa's deer. You know the deer as Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, and Vixen. In the original poem, published in 1823, and in episode 1 we discussed the poem, A Visit from St. Nicholas, which you know as the day before Christmas. That's not the names of the deer. Well, not all the deer. The names go Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Dunder, and Bliksem, which is Dutch for thunder and lightning. The Dutch influence was very heavy at the time in New England, especially around New York area and the Hudson River Valley. And speaking of reindeer, I have a story for you. A very good story, I think. It's about the reindeer that pulled the sleigh, including Rudolph. It was at the park. It was at the schoolhouse. There was a little girl, maybe 11 or 12, perhaps, sitting front bench on the girl's side of the room. I think that was her mother with her, and she plays a part in the story. I mentioned that if we're talking reindeer, and yes, we are talking reindeer, male reindeer, they shed their antlers in the fall, and they remain essentially bald-headed until the spring. It's the female reindeer who maintain their antlers throughout the winter. So what that means is, folks, the deer that are pulling Santa's sleigh, all of them, including Rudolph, each and every one of them are girls. And that's when the little girl said, yes, yes, oh, yes. Made my day, and everybody just erupted with laughter. And sweetheart, I have no idea who you are. You're never going to see this. You're in your, I'm guessing, early 30s by now. You may have your own family, your own children. Wherever you are, whoever you're with, whoever your children are, I hope you tell them this story every so often, particularly at Christmas time, because not only did it give me a great deal of joy, it gave the whole audience the same feeling. And every time I tell this story, people say, that's a good story, and they feel better for it. And with that, so as not to make this another too long video, it's time, isn't it? Well, let's see. Yes, indeed. There will be a part 3. There will be a part 3 just because in the original, when I was doing this for the park, there was so much material. I had a half an hour, 45 minutes to do that, but not here. So, thank you all for coming. Hope you get a like and a subscription if I haven't got one already from you. I hope you're all doing well, and I hope to see you next time on Dave Digs History. Until that time comes, until our trails cross again, I have the honor and privilege to remain your most respectful and obedient servant, Dave Diggs. Wishing you well until next time. Thanks for stopping by.